All right, I'm going to, I would like all of you to do a color chart mixing your blues, reds, yellows together to create, so you can practice getting all the different colors that are available to you. I'm going to show you briefly what I hope we will get when we're done. And that's something like this. But let me show you how we'll start it. I have two blues, ultramarine blue and cerulean. It could be a manganese or it could be a cobalt and a cerulean. Alizarin red. This could be this alizarin red. This is a permanent red or Windsor red or some other kind of red you might have. I use New Gamboge yellow, but some of you might use Naples. Aureolin is my very pale yellow. Some could use cadmium yellow, and the raw sienna, which is a sort of a brownish yellow. I like it as a yellow that's less bright than the other yellows. Okay, I gotta make sure I tape this thing down so it doesn't slide on me. Okay, so using fresh water and freshly squeezed out color. This isn't going to be too tricky. I'm going to take my ultramarine blue and I'll just put a little ultramarine right there. So ultramarine and ultramarine. Now, if I take ultramarine and mix it with cerulean, I'll get a blue that's slightly different. A mixture of the two blues. I'm getting a little bit more of the ultramarine in there. And there we go. Ultramarine, a little dab of the alizarin, and you get a lovely purple color. Ultramarine with the Windsor red. I think it gives you a different purple. It's a little well, I don't know. It's got a little I see it as a little well, I don't know how you want to describe those two. I'm going to run out of, okay, now ultramarine and New Gamboge. This gives me my nice color of a maple tree in the summer. There we go. And if I take ultramarine with a little bit of aureolin, I get a paler green. To be a little cleaner looking. This has a little bit of brownish green in it. And then I'll take my ultramarine with raw sienna. And this gives me my kind of army green, kind of a dirty green. This is the green I use a lot with evergreen trees. It's just not quite as brilliant as the more leafy trees. If you want, you could add burnt sienna as another color and add, let's see, ultramarine blue. I won't do this on all of them, but ultramarine blue and burnt sienna combo. Because you get kind of an interesting gray. Again, burnt sienna and ultramarine. Now, I need to wipe my palette down because I've got all these different colors. And you got to remember to keep wiping your palette, otherwise the colors are going to get contaminated. Now, cerulean blue, just by itself, there you can see how cerulean and the ultramarine are different from each other. There's that nice color of some Honda cars or something like that. They're kind of that almost aquamarine kind of blue. Okay, we take the cerulean and add a little bit of alizarin to it. And you can see that purple is very different than the other purple. Ultramarine, a little touch of permanent red or Windsor red. I used Windsor red. You might have another one. But whatever red you use or whatever colors you use, you really have to know, you have to practice whether you use vermilion. That's a nice color too, but you got to know what it looks like when it mixes with other colors. Okay, cerulean. Now with the new gamboge. This is a lighter green. This is a nice clean summer green. And aureolin and cerulean. That's a color I really like for the spring when the blossoms are just coming out. They're that kind of limey green, and you get that kind of color. Raw sienna and cerulean give you another dirty green. A little bit different than the one above. That's a little more like a camouflage color. And if I were going to try that cerulean with the burnt sienna, we get this one here. All right. Now, again, wipe down your palette. Get rid of all those cerulean mixtures. And I'm going to go, now I'm not going to be too tedious with this, but I'm going to get alizarin purely by itself. I'm sort of running out of room here because I need my red to be down here. Oh, it's hard to estimate how much space you're going to use. Okay. The alizarin with the other red, not too different here. Now, alizarin is a really strong color, so anytime you use it, it's going to dominate. So make sure you get here. I'm getting the new gamboge. I'm getting effort, so I get this wonderful orange color. And aureolin is a lighter green, a lighter yellow, sorry, with that alizarin, and I get a paler orange. And raw sienna and alizarin. That's kind of, wow, that's a pretty cool color right there. Again, there's a lot of alizarin in that, so I'll put a little more raw sienna in there. And try the burnt sienna. That's that reddish brown with the aureolin, and you get this. It's like the color of the side of a barn, perhaps. Now, I think you see where this is going. You are going to have in a diagonal your pure colors. So new gamboge yellow. There's my grid there. That's just pure new gamboge. My aureolin, and coming down, it'll be here. My raw sienna, right here. And since I do have room, I'm going to do the burnt sienna, which I never labeled for you, but there it is down here. So burnt sienna, and up in this corner, burnt. It's like the old Crayola crayons, right? So there we go, and you've got all these. Now, I won't go through and do all these other colors because you can figure that out. But I do want to show you a very more comprehensive image. Not of all that mess. And here is a much larger sheet of paper. And it's got well, I can't even hold this high enough for you to see all of it. I've got the same blue, alizarin, red, yellow, burnt sienna. I have a raw umber on here, the aureole, and I put it at the far right. And then you see in the other way, you get how these grids work. But if you can make for yourself a grid of colors like this and become familiar with what makes what, how do you get the lime green? How do you get the evergreen color? How do you get the pumpkin color? What's the best way to get a rose color? If you can get familiar with these mixtures, you'll be well on your way to having some very luscious color and a lot of fun with your painting. So we'll stop right there, and that will be your homework for next time. See you all later.